Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another one of these quite regular things that we're doing now. New shows and a roundup of everything that's going on. Since my last video, so much has gone on. But first of all, let me introduce. First of all, as always, Carl's in the corner. How are you doing?
All right, Sunshine, how are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you. And we actually have a debutant on tonight's show. Someone that I have known for a while. He's looking at me very like...
Because that is where you are wrong, sir, because this is actually my second appearance on this channel. I debuted the day after Survivor Series.
Yep.
But no,
I have to remind everyone that my memory is that of someone a heck of a lot older than I am, as we so we'll put that one to the blooper reel. And on his second appearance, actually, because he actually debuted on the day after Survivor Series, Posh Bertie, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very good, thank you. Mainly because I've had a few days of not having to watch football, and I think we all don't want to talk about that, considering the state of our teams at the moment. But yes, I'm doing well life-wise.
Yeah,
that's good. Happy New Year, everyone, by the way.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Yeah, there are two things that are banned. There's two words that are banned: football and VAR. Although VAR did get a call on one of the progress shows that I was watching the other day. They, at the end of a match, they hadn't seen that there was actually a low blow. So this referee came running out like old school WWE style and was like, "Yeah, start the match again." And all the crowd started chanting VAR, and it just gave me horrendous flashbacks. But that is what it is. Right. First of all, Lee's joining in straight away. Good evening, guys. Looking forward to this. Thank you. I'm pleased somebody looks forward to it. So where I'm going to start is, as it's become a little bit of a segment of the show now, I've got some new Funko Pops. Haven't shown anyone else. It's an exclusive of this one. So this one is the Undertaker one that actually glows in the dark. I haven't tried it yet. I assume it glows in the dark. It says it glows in the dark. So that's that.
That's the first thing you should
Xavier Woods, but it's the up, down version. Rather than one. And then lastly, this is the Chase edition. So Chases are ones that you can get a chance of getting if you order 2 or 3 of the same one. And it's actually Vince himself in a pink suit. I believe he used to wear suits like this back in the day. So that's those updated. Thankfully, I've put them back in the boxes and I've actually displayed them all together in boxes now. It looks better than them on their own, although I've lost the plastic casing for 2 of them. So Mean Gene and John Cena and Ricky the Steamboat are held up in the box by tissues. It's the best I could do. John Cena's actually having a nap at the minute. I'll just show you. Oh, that's how I looked after my first week back to work. That was me coming home this evening. But normally he would stand up, but as you can see, I got a box of tissues for Christmas, and that's what it did. Held up 3 Funko Pops. So just adjust John Cena back to standing there, and then we'll get going. So big things happening in both AEW and WWE this week. I'm going to start with AEW. because WWE always comes first. So in the sense of things, so I'm going to change things up. So I'm going to start with World's End because that's what came first. So I am going to mention first of all the Edge and Christian match because I remember messaging you, Carl, after watching it, and it reminded me very much of if they'd both wrestled each other in the kind of Attitude Era, because it kind of had shades of the shades of that in it, really. You're both frozen on my screen, which is not great.
Where are you? I'm here.
Yeah.
At least.
Is there anyone there?
I'm okay. I can hear you.
Ah, that's all right. Posh just had like a glare because it had frozen. Posh just had kind of like a glare.
It's me whenever I watch Arsenal matches. If it looks like a sinister glare, then yeah, probably.
So yeah, I just want to take that to both of you, really. Whoever wants to start. Did either of you get a chance to see it? And if so, am I talking complete and utter trash, or am I getting somewhere with it?
I watched it and I enjoyed it. I think it could obviously have been better. Like, they're both in their older years and not as young as they once were. But yeah, it was good overall. It was good. But the table spot, that's flaming table spot. That's all I'm going to say. I don't even need to say anymore. It's just it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, that is actually on my notes as something to mention, because it was kind of like my actual notes was it was a massive botch with a flaming table, but obviously they meant to do it, but it kind of half looked like, I don't know, it's a hard one to describe if you haven't actually seen it. It's half like looks like he's gone through the table, and then the other half of it is like 90% of his body missing the table as well. So it's a really weird one. Don't know if you managed to see it, Posh, or...
See, I only saw it the once. Sorry, Posh, go on.
No, I saw that spot. I like as KJ says, I only saw the match once, so I haven't got to see. I haven't seen it again. So yeah, that's all I can really tell. I thought I wasn't a big fan of the finish though, because oh yeah, you had Edge, or Adam Copeland as he's now known in AEW, winning, and I thought that was going to be a feel good moment. Suddenly, out of I can't remember, but Christian Cage suddenly won from a very niche way to describe it.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was weird because I don't know how we can explain it. To be honest, the match came to an end, and then it didn't come to an end, and it ended up with Edge actually losing it. And then we had the whole sort of Luchasaurus came out because he'd won the contract from earlier on. To end up, it was a battle royal for a chance at a championship, and he came out. He was then kind of said by Christian Cage, like, "Oh, you've got to give me that like contract now."
He whispered in his ear, didn't he? And because
it
looked like he was
for you. Basically, sorry. It was always for me.
Sorry, Sam, but it looked like he was gonna take that opportunity himself, Luchasaurus or Killswitch or whatever you want to call him now. And then Christian whispered something in his ear. So it seems to me like there's something that we haven't got yet. Maybe other fans have who are actually fully into it. But maybe something will come out that he's got something on Luchasaurus, if you know what I mean. Like, he's got something against him, so he can't take that opportunity or go against Christian. whatever that is, I don't know. But
So I've seen. I'm just looking at the what the description was for the whole finish. So Kill Switch or Luchasaurus had a promised title shot, but when Edge won the match, he immediately Killswitch gave his title shot to Christian, who immediately cashed it in and pinned Copeland with a spear just seconds afterwards. So it's certainly an out of nowhere thing. But yeah, I think I said it. I don't want to be harsh on this, but the finish there was a bit 2000s WCW, wasn't it? It's like something that came out of it.
yeah.
It's like something from Bash at the Beach 2000.
I think it was really anticlimactic as well. Like the way it started off, it had really like high hopes, and then it just seemed to decline more than ascend.
Yeah. No, I completely understand that.
It kind of, the thing is with those though, it kind of outshadows the match most of the time, because the match was so good, and it's probably one of the matches that I'll look back at the end of the year and think, oh yeah, I did actually really enjoy watching that. But you kind of remember it from the ending rather than the fact that it was a good match. That's the thing. So yeah, it's really unfortunate. But it is what it is, I suppose. We don't write the shows, do we? Someone else does. So I think we've got a comment before I go on to the next bit. Quite enjoyed the Christian in the bank cash-in. Good play on words there. Good play on words. Right. So next thing I want to talk about, I'm going at a random order because it was just the order that I've got in my notes. So the next thing we're going to talk about is actually the Continental Classic final. If you don't know or haven't been watching, there's been two kind of tables in AEW shows over the last couple of weeks, where there's been 5 or 6 wrestlers in each, and they've kind of wrestled each other. Got points, so many points for a win, so many points for a loss. And then the top came out and actually fought all 3. And then we came to the final, which was Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. Really good wrestling match, as you would kind of predict. But it actually came out that Eddie won it. And he won the ROH World Championship and 2 NJWP Strong Openweight Championship. So he's actually got 3 belts, which is pretty nuts. Don't know if either of you managed to see it or have any further comments than that.
Yeah, one thing I did not like about the match was the amount of just like, that Hulk Hogan Rock moment where they just like stand off slapping each other. Like, I just don't like that sort of stuff. Like, that's just personal, like, preference. Do you know what I mean? Like, it slows the match down a lot, and I like a nice paced match, but other than that, it was a good match.
Almost.
Yeah. But yeah, no, other than that, it was a good match. Obviously, 2 Dons in AEW. Yeah, it's a good match.
Yeah, it was. I don't think, though, those 2 as wrestlers need to do anything because of both their kind of skill levels as wrestlers. They just need to kind of let the wrestling do the talking rather than anything else. So obviously they're 2 of the biggest draws that AEW have in terms of quality of wrestlers. So yeah, you would think that would be like a flawless match between both of them. But yeah, I see what you mean about Posh. Anything?
Yeah, again a match I've only seen once, but yeah, I thought it was very good, and obviously those two have got history in AEW together, and they can tell a good story. And I thought, yeah, for what it was, I thought it was quite good, and good to see Eddie Kingston get a nice, crowning moment at the end, because he's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is probably like underused and under kind of, what's the word, like not given enough respect in terms of like he always gets put in these matches, but it's always, yeah, and always kind of when he's in a match, it's never him that kind of is the standout. It's always someone else. Whereas when you actually sit and watch him wrestle, just him and nobody else, he's like one of the best wrestlers they have quite easily. So yeah, that was that. I'm going to quickly skip over two matches that are actually really good. Both of the female wrestlers matches. Julia Hart beating Abaddon. I'm hoping saying that right. Basically, if somebody hasn't seen it, it's basically a woman with a lot of face paint on and is made to look quite creepy, something out of like a 90s horror film type vibe. And the stipulation was so because it was a Heart Rules match. So basically that means that the opponent could pick what match type it was. I'm thinking, they'll pick like an Extreme Rules or I don't know. And the stipulation they picked was that biting was allowed. That was genuinely the stipulation. Biting was allowed. I was like, well, what a waste.
Luis Suarez rules, more like.
Gosh.
I said it was Luis Suarez rules with biting.
It was. Oh, was it? I'm sure because at the start of the yeah, before the match, basically the commentary was like, I remember the commentary, and the commentary said, in this match the opponent picks what the stipulation is, and the stipulation is that biting is allowed, and genuinely that's all they said. So that was the most bizarre thing ever, and such a waste. Like when the opponent picks a stipulation, it's got to be like something nuts. Like I'm like, if I had the choice, I'd be like, yeah, let's get that Punjabi prison match out again. Let's have another one of them. I bet that took some time to put together, but that was just worth it. I know it was because of the Great Khali, and it was like it wouldn't really be the same if it wasn't like if it was anybody else doing it. But I just want to see the return of that one day, and just WWE going, do you know what? Let's throw everything to the wall.
Make it good for a change.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be definitely up for that. But yeah, so there was that match. It was really back and forth, to be fair. Really, really good. Really enjoyable match. And then the other one was Tony Storm. There's that whole kind of, I think it's really cool when they like make everything black and white, but when you've seen it like 40 times, you think, oh, here we go again. I do think it's really cool, but I think with things like that, you've got to use it like sparingly. Like for example, when WWE did it with WWE did it when there was the whole what was it? It's gonna come to me in a minute. Bray Wyatt did the Funhouse type stuff, but then he also did like different matches where they were like outside, and there was little gimmicks like that. That's how they used the WWE used that really well, because they used those two different types of things where you didn't get bored of it. Whereas when you see this black and white Tony Storm coming out, you're thinking, yeah, I've seen this before, like next. So yeah, that was the match. He actually fought Riho. Again, hopefully I'm saying this right. But again, much like the other match, I just enjoyed it for what it was. There's two more matches, three more matches. One I've left to the end on purpose. And then the other two, I'm going to skip over very quickly because they were just WWE style filler matches. Swerve Strickland defeating Dusty Rhodes, that was just
Wait,
it was
what?
just one
Dusty
match ago.
Rhodes?
Dustin.
Oh yeah,
I thought you said Dusty then. I was
there's
like,
another, that's the second blooper of the evening.
R.I.P.
So
Dusty.
again, it was nothing. That was a nothing match at all. And then the other one was like a mega tag team match where they threw everyone out of the two leagues that didn't get to the last two of the Continental Classic, and kind of put them in like a mega tag team match, and everybody was going nuts and saying, "Oh my god, there's so much talent," and it was just so awful. So then, last of all, obviously, we skipped to the main event. Samoa Joe MJF. I don't think they've hyped up a match in AEW for quite a long time, as much as they have this. Like, it's been going on for so many weeks, like a lot longer than the normal kind of feuds go on for. And obviously for good reason, with the identity of the devil to be.
That's not the right one.
That's not the devil. That's an angel. Based on how I've heard people describe that guy.
No. Do you know what I was looking for? I wasn't even looking for the devil. I was looking for an MJF picture, but I've uploaded the wrong one. Such an idiot. There we go, though. The devil. The devil.
Yeah, that was the devil. I to be honest, I thought it was quite underwhelming. And I've read like a lot of reports online as well, because they've built this up, this devil like whole thing. They've built it up over weeks and weeks and weeks, and you kind of hoped that it would be like a big return or one of the big guys that you didn't expect. So for it to be Adam Cole, obviously it made sense in terms of the storyline, but it was kind of underwhelming. You kind of went, oh, that was literally my reaction when it came out as Adam. You're like, oh, like when you saw Wardlow there, I'm thinking, oh yeah, this could be something good here. Wardlow comes up, and then Roderick Strong. I was like, oh well, it's going to be obvious now, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know what you both thought about it, but yeah, I was kind of a bit disappointed.
Yeah, it was a little bit like soap opera-esque, wasn't it, really? And usually when it comes to those types of storylines, they sometimes go down like a fart and lift, really. But I think, but, you know, Adam Cole was eventually going to turn on MJF at some point, and they've just used the whole devil storyline to make that happen. But I more enjoyed the match between MJF and Samoa Joe more than the actual ending of the show, really.
Yeah, it was really good. I must admit, that's what I was going to go on to next. The actual, so obviously we knew it was going to be an unbelievable match just because of both the wrestlers. We knew that was the case, so that kind of played out as it did, and it was really enjoyable. And then you had that massive shock factor because you didn't think for a minute that MJF would have lost it. But then that leads me on to my next point quite well, is that we should have seen that was going to happen, because MJF did a promo a couple of days previous and basically said, oh yeah, I'm tired. I've wrestled too much. I'm having loads of painkillers and stuff just for me to get out there. So we should have seen that coming, really. But obviously you don't, because you just think, well, the biggest draw in AEW has got to keep the championship. It's got to be like a Roman Reigns situation. But obviously it looks like he's taken time out, and he's taken some time out. But the interesting thing was that the day after, he actually got removed off the AEW roster on their website, which is really weird, actually.
I think that's really smart. Like, that's how they're going to keep people interested after, letting everyone know Adam Cole is the devil. They've got nothing else there for like suspense, if you get me. Now they've got everyone thinking MJF's gone. Is he gone, or is it just a word?
They're working us. They're working.
I believe they're working us, but
see, I didn't think that, but now you've actually said that to me. That makes a lot of sense, because everyone's going, "Oh my God, he's going to WWE," and I'm like, he's not, because he'd already said that he doesn't want to go there. He hasn't said it, but he's made out that he doesn't want to go there. He just entertained it for a little bit in order to bring his own name up, I think. I didn't think he entertained it because he was genuinely thinking about it. I think he entertained it because he knew that would bring his name up and basically get people talking. I think that's the reason he did it. So yeah, I don't know if you've got anything, either if you've got anything further to add before I go on to Dynamite, really.
Other than, I will say, not about the MJF match, but you just on the Swerve Strickland against Dustin Rhodes, not Dusty. No, I think it would have been more effective if it was like a squash, because Dustin came into this match like injured, I think, and to showcase Swerve's, how dominant he's hopefully will be in 2024. I think it should have been a very short match. It didn't need the comeback that Dustin had, in my opinion. But I will say, I think Swerve Strickland is going to have a great year in AEW. So I'm looking forward to see what he does.
Yeah.
And
I think he's going to be one of the ones that has like a massive year. So yeah, that leads us quite well into Dynamite, to be fair. So Dynamite, let me get my notes up. So at the start of Dynamite, actually, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. When I said that MJF, at the end of MJF, when Adam Cole came out, it was disappointing. Yes, it was. But he kind of somewhat redeemed himself on the start of Dynamite. So my notes are as follows. That sounded really formal. Sounded like I was reading the news.
Turning into me.
So my notes were... So Adam Cole, really good spot on the mic as the devil to start the show, to chants of asshole, and explained his reasons as to why he portrayed MJF. He expressed that MJF dropped him when he didn't need him anymore. He actually gave up everything for MJF, including breaking his own ankle. That sounds dramatic. Breaking his ankle. Saved the World Championship reign quite a few times, and then he actually ended it in the end, obviously coming out as the devil. He said the angle that they had together, which culminated, I think most of it was done at All In London, where they fought as a tag team, won the championships, then came out at the end and had like a soap opera-esque moment at the end of All In. Basically said that angle was the only reason that MJF stayed relevant in this company, and if he hadn't have done, then nobody would have known who he was, which was quite a cool spot. But when you actually realize, it just sounds ridiculous. So then it came to the point where, as all of them, because there was him, Wardlow, Roderick Strong, and then the tag champs for ROH, I believe, who were... I've got this on my notes. Called the Kingdom. So they are going to call themselves the Undisputed Kingdom, which I thought was quite cool, because it kind of puts a middle finger up at WWE in some senses. Then what happened was each one of them, he went round each one and said, obviously, the tag champs will stay as the tag champs. He said that Wardlow is going to go to the word title, and then after he wins it, he'll then pass it down and hand it to Adam Cole.
Forfeit it to him, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, forfeit the title and just give him it. I don't know how they're going to... I'd love to see that play out, because that's how they do that. Because That's not how it works. He couldn't just go, do you know what? I'm giving my title to somebody else. Vacating it's different. Like you might
That
do
only
that,
works with
but I want to
Luchasaurus.
see how actually. Yeah, I want to actually see how they do this and if they actually follow through with it. Because I think Wardlow would be a great champion. He'd be so dominant. He reminds me of like old Brock Lesnar. Like Brock Lesnar used to be in like the Elimination Chamber. There's one Elimination Chamber where he comes in and takes out like everyone one after the other. Wardlow reminds me of that because he's just so dominant. And he actually hasn't been used at all really by AEW. They need to use him more this time around. And then Roderick Strong is going for another title. I didn't know who that was, but he's not going to win a title. I'm not being funny. In the best intention to him, he just I don't think would look right as a champion. He's just kind of like I don't know. He just wouldn't look right. Like in Undisputed Era, it was slightly different because they all like were the champions. So they all, but Roderick Strong just doesn't look like a singles champion. But then he basically said that AEW needs change, and they'll start a new chapter in AEW, obviously as a faction. I've just put on my notes. I've actually put great spot shows MJF skills on the mic. So my notes are wrong because MJF wasn't even there. But what I was meant to say was Adam Cole was really good on the mic.
Yeah.
And that's one of his skills, I think, as well as being a really good wrestler, of course. He's one that does cut a good promo. And then at the end of that segment, Jay White then came out and then attacks was going to attack, obviously, Adam Cole, but the rest of them got involved. And the reason why he did that was because he was the first victim of the devil, way, way back. So, yeah, that was kind of where we were at. I don't know if either of you managed to catch that, because obviously it was only last night.
Yeah, I saw that. It wasn't just...
Yeah, last night.
It wasn't just Jay White that came out, either. It was... Billy Gunn and his boys, some other tag team. My knowledge isn't great, but yeah,
okay.
It was a couple more. It was all the ones that got attacked by the devil, and then the Adam Cole and his boys stood behind the security, and the security was saying he's not clear, so they couldn't get to him, which I think is a bit silly, but.
Yeah, I do think it would be really good, though, to be honest. I do think that because I don't think AEW really have a faction. They had the Blackpool Combat Club type angle, and the other one was I can't think now.
Well, we've got the patriarchy. We've got the patriarchy
because they fought.
That's a faction.
And because they fought at All In London, and it was Blackpool Combat Club and what is it? God damn.
House of Black.
I'll look at that. Yes, it was.
Oh, there you go.
I believe. Let me have a look. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do a little bit of a. I know on Joe Rogan they have this guy in the corner that researches stuff, so I'm going to take over this.
Young Jamie.
Yeah, that's right.
Pull that up, Jamie.
No, that's 24. All in London, 23. But yeah, you've obviously got the House of Black, but they've kind of somewhat tailed off and don't really get much of a.
I've heard of those, but who's
spotting things anymore?
Who's actually in the House of Black?
House of Black. So Aleister Black, that used to be in WWE, you'll probably know. I can't think of the other ones now.
You know what? I'm just gonna research it. Let me just have a look.
Yeah. So the event in 0 preliminary matches. FDR. Stadium Stampede match. That's it. They're my favourite matches. They're so cool. And oh no, so it wasn't. So it was Blackpool Combat Club, and then it was Eddie Kingston, Penta, Best Friends, Orange Cassidy. So that was kind of like a made up kind of faction just for that. And then we had that coffin match afterwards, which was just sublime. So that was that bit. And then there's 2 more things that kind of happened in Dynamite that I want to just go on briefly. Orange Cassidy yet again retains. Obviously, going into matches now that he's going to win. Like, you could put him against 20 guys, like 20 on 1, and they'd find a way for him still to retain. And then at the end, Swerve Strickland came out, had a match, and then Hangman Adam Page actually came out and kind of attacked him. So I think by the looks of it, that's the start of a new feud, which could be interesting. So
you say new.
If you've got anything else, either of you, before I go on to the dark side of the ring, the WWE.
I mean, look, when it
Great
came
show
to
as well, that, by the way.
When it came to Dynamite, I saw the Adam Cole promo, but the rest of it, in the immortal words of Arsene Wenger, I didn't see it, so I can't really have any. I can't really say anything else about it. But I'm surprised that Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland are doing another match, because I thought they would have drained the blood out of each other by now.
That's the first strike for you, Posh, because you mentioned something about football. Yes, it was clever, but you broke one of the rules, and that was to mention the football. Because now I've just got flashbacks to the last game and flashbacks to the fact that we're wearing a white kit on Sunday, which means Nottingham Forest. Yes, we are wearing that special white kit for Liverpool on Sunday, which we always seem to lose in. We've had 2 games in, I believe, and I think we've lost both. I think they were both against Forest as well. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you are wrong there. I think it was both were in the FA Cup. It was a 3rd round last year, and we won that, but we didn't play well. We won, but it was an ugly win. So anyway, stop with the football. I didn't want to mention the game. I just mentioned Arsene Wenger. So nothing to do with the game, but
Yeah, I'll let you.
He's just a man.
2 more strikes. 2 more strikes, and you're out there. Right, we are going into so Raw Day 1 was first. So had the opener of a match that we've been building up for a couple of weeks. It was Nia Jax and Becky Lynch. It was quite a fun match, but it ended up that Nia won. Which again, I knew they were going to do, because then they can string it on for another couple of weeks and say, "Oh, let's have a rematch then." And then it'll string it on for a couple of weeks, and it'll give us a storyline to fill for the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks. But yeah, when you think about it, it's only in wrestling that this could be not a complete mismatch. Like, if Nia Jax approached Becky Lynch in the street, there's only one way that's ended. Whereas in a wrestling ring, Becky Lynch actually stands a chance.
Well, in a wrestling ring, Becky Lynch also might get her neck broken, because Nia Jax is dangerous.
Yeah, I certainly don't think she probably doesn't enjoy. I don't think anyone's going to enjoy getting slammed into the mat by Nia Jax. That's one way. Like, it. To be fair though, if I was struggling to sleep, that's one way that would send you to sleep, is to get slammed straight on that ring. You'd be out for a good week. So next up, we had the little fun spot of the evening, we was expecting the Miz was on the mic, and we was expecting Judgment Day to come out, and out comes R-Truth. I think this angle's great because R-Truth just plays it perfectly, and he's got what was it? So the T-shirt that he wears, it says Judgment Day and R-Truth or something. That's at the bottom, doesn't it? And it's just so fun. So obviously he came out, talked some crap with Miz, as we expect. And then the actual members of the Judgment Day came out. I don't think it was all of them. I'm sure it was a little short guy. I can't think of his name.
It was
he's
JD.
now going to be known as Little Short Guy forever.
McDonald's or whatever his name was, and
JD McDonough. Yeah,
and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, so JD McDonough, again, he was really good in NXT, and WWE just ruined him. Like in Judgment Day, they're making him look kind of okay. So yeah, and then they came out, talked a little bit more rubbish, and then said, right, let's as the WWE do in their famous line, let's settle this in the ring. So then they got into a match, and that went how it went. I can't even remember who won now. I think no, it wasn't. It was Miz and R-Truth that won in the end. Yeah. They called themselves Awesome Truth as well, which I think is great.
When they teamed up, they were a tag team in 2011.
I thought I remembered that.
Yeah, they faced John Cena and The Rock, didn't they, at a Survivor Series 2011? It was The Rock's first match in years since he came back, and it was against those two with John Cena. So yeah, but yeah, that was a nice little reunion to start off the year.
Back.
And yeah, and I will say, you mentioned Becky Lynch and Nia Jax. I thought that match was better than I expected. So yeah.
Yeah, Posh there with his encyclopedic knowledge of 2011 WWE. So going off that, that was the year, little segue, that was the year that I actually got back into wrestling, 2011, because me
CM
and
Punk.
5 or 6, the CM Punk, and there was some great pay-per-views that year. But on the 2010 TLC Table, Ladders and Chairs pay-per-view, I was round one of my friend's house, and we randomly went, it would be cool to watch wrestling again, wouldn't it? And they went, oh yeah, not knowing that every single pay-per-view from 2010 to the end of 2011 would be bought by us, and there'd be 5 or 6 people in a room after school paying £2 each on Sky Box Office to watch the pay-per-view. And those were the days. And we'd watch every single one from start to finish. There was in no point that we'd skip it. So it was just fantastic. There was some great pay-per-views that year. I'm just looking at them now. Obviously, I'm just trying to think of the ones. Obviously, you've got your normal ones. Avengers 2011 was when they broke the ring. The ring kind of collapsed on itself. The Royal Rumble was actually ruined. So we went to school one day, and somebody in all of their wisdom came in, knowing that we watched the pay-per-views after school all together, and said, oh yeah, guess who's won the pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble? And we went, don't tell us, we're watching it after. They proceeded to tell us. So for a good couple of weeks after, we didn't speak to the person. That was the year that who was it won? I can't think who it was. I think it was Big Jinder actually won it that year.
What, not 2011?
I'm going to look that one up. No, it wasn't. It was I'm talking absolute rubbish there. 2011 pay-per-view Royal Rumble. I'm talking absolute rubbish. As soon as I said it, I instantly regretted it. So it was won by. It was that was it. It was won by Del Rio. I was it was in my head. So yeah, we were told about that. It was also the biggest Royal Rumble that year as well, wasn't it?
Like 40 men, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was a 40 instead of 30. So the other ones we had Over the Limit 2011. I think that was one that was only used a couple of times. Capital Punishment, I think that was only used a couple of times before that as well. And then the rest of them were just your normal ones. But yeah, that was a really good year, culminating in one of the best matches I've ever seen at Money in the Bank in 2011 with Cena and Punk, where it was the whole Punk leaves the WWE with the title and stuff, and that was just one of the best storylines that WWE have ever done. And I think any wrestling fan would say that as well. That was just next level. To have both of those, to have John Cena and CM Punk in your company at the same time, both in probably the best, in the best, like they were probably in the best shape of their lives, both of them. It was just incredible to have both of those at the same time at probably like the best parts of their career. It was just incredible. So then we got to the big part of day one, and they've been announcing it all week that a champion, a former champion, is going to come back and return. I didn't really read much into it before, but obviously the rumor mill on the internet would have been nuts, and it would have told you anyone and everyone was returning. And then when Jinder Mahal's music hit, I just went, why have you spent the last so many days hyping everyone up to the point of like, oh my God, it could be anyone for Jinder Mahal to walk out? Like, granted, he was okay in his last run. He wasn't bad at all. He just wasn't amazing because he came back that once, didn't he? I believe that when he came back last time, he was really kind of skinny and stuff before, and then he went away for a good couple of months and then just got to like rock size all of a sudden. Like, and obviously it looked kind of silly, and he kind of got laughed at it for it. But obviously he came back kind of that size again, but to the biggest mountain of boos from a crowd that I've heard in a very long time, because I think they shared my frustration in terms of, oh, wow, Triple H has been building this up for days, only for it to be... you could say that, but you could say it also made them look a bit silly, is what I would say. I would say it made them look a bit daft, that Triple H, one of the best that there ever is, goes on Twitter and says, oh, we've got a former champion returning. He doesn't tweet stuff like that very often. So for it to be Jinder, you were like, wow.
That's why I thought, okay, something else is happening. They're doing a bit of bit of trolling in real life, really. I thought, they're doing a bit of, that's what I thought when I saw Jinder come out. It wasn't going to be the real deal. He was going to cut some promo saying, "Hey, I'm back. Remember me?" and all that, and then suddenly someone else would come out and that's what happened.
Yeah, I haven't heard like a bigger boo than that in a long time. So yeah, then obviously we got to the fun part of the show, where The Rock came out, and to one of the biggest cheers I've heard in a very long time as well. I think it even got a bigger cheer because the big, obviously, AEW moment of the last sort of however long was when Edge returned. Or on the WWE side when CM Punk returned. I actually think that The Rock coming back got a bigger kind of cheer than both of those probably put together. It was just sounded so electric. It just went like the roof came off the stadium. It was that kind of loud. Obviously, he came back in typical Rock fashion. He gave him a lot of trash talk, which he started to sing. It broke out into a song at one point, which I was like, yes, this reminds me of like the days when it was Cena and Rock for both the Manias, and they'd come out each week, and Word Life Cena would come back and make loads of songs and stuff. So yeah, it reminded me of that time, which is a really good time in wrestling, actually. So yeah, I don't know if either of you've got any thoughts on it, really. I'm guessing you have.
The segment itself, I thought it was, again, very good to see The Rock back and everything. And of course, it was what he said at the end, which sent everyone into a frenzy about sitting at the head of the table. So obviously teasing a potential, the potential Rock versus Roman that's been hyped about for about 5 million years now. But here's the thing. It's like WWE had good WrestleMania plans anyway. Not that I don't think it'll happen at WrestleMania. I think, and I'll tell you why. But if it looks like it, if it is, they had 2 plans for the main events of both nights, which was Rollins, Punk, and Roman and Cody potentially, and Big Dwayne's come in and just whacked it all with a hammer. But people seem to be forgetting that Elimination Chamber is taking place in a massive stadium in Australia this year, 60,000 plus. And if you're going to sell out a 60,000 plus stadium, you can only do it by having a match like Roman Reigns and The Rock. That will instantly sell out the tickets. And you can still have it will still be a WrestleMania-esque match, because it will be, yes, it's not at Mania, but that will be at a stadium in front of thousands and thousands of people. And it will still be like a monumental moment, the whole spectacle of everything. And let's be honest, when Roman beats The Rock, if that happens, he'll be like a massive figure going into WrestleMania. Like, yeah, I'm the king of the Samoan dynasty now, and the wonders it would do for Cody if he beat him at Mania. Then if those are the plans anyway, which they probably are, then I think that's the way it would work. That's the way it would work. And although a lot of people did say, "Oh, The Rock won't work a B-level pay-per-view," well, he did wrestle at Elimination Chamber in 2013 when he was the champion. It was the rematch with CM Punk, and that wasn't at a massive stadium. That was at an arena. So he has done that before. And B, like I said, it's in Australia, 60,000 plus people. I reckon he can do it. That's the more logistical way I can see this going.
I
Roman at Chamber.
Yeah, when you
I
said
completely agree.
When you said that, I actually would really like for The Rock to be in an Elimination Chamber. I think that would sell amazingly for WWE, because I would just research and see if he's ever been in an Elimination Chamber, and he hasn't, because the thing that came up was the match you just mentioned in 2013 when he was the champion and it was CM Punk. But he hasn't been in an Elimination Chamber. So I'm pretty sure if you give him the opportunity, I think that would be great. I'm not the biggest Rock fan, because I think in the era of, that was around the 2011 time when Rock and Cena had their kind of feud. I think it was either then or a couple of years after. It was very close. So you either were like a Cena guy or you were a Rock guy at that point. And I've always been a Cena guy. And I'm not a biggest fan of The Rock kind of going away, doing loads of films, and then coming back and having this massive, oh my God, everybody cheers him really loud. I've never really got that. So yeah, I do think it'd be really good for him to be in an Elimination Chamber. I think that would sell the event really well. But yeah, I do agree. I really hope that is not their plans, and they're not going to give us Roman and The Rock. Not saying that would be not a good match, it would be, but I think we're all holding out for the Roman and what is it? Roman CM Punk? We're all holding out for
Cody.
That might be later
Cody,
down the
no.
line.
Yeah.
Cody at
No,
Mania.
Cody
I think CM Punk's gonna go obviously the Seth route, and then Rock and Roman will inevitably happen because obviously the seeds are being planted right now, and we can't ignore that. They're not going to do that for no reason. And yeah, Cody and Roman at Mania. You can't go wrong, really. I think.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll have Cody win again. I'll be honest. I think they'll have Roman keep it. I honestly do, and it's going to annoy the fuck out of me. And I think they will, because that's WWE.
I'm just if that happens, I just can't wait to see Twitter go into meltdown.
Yeah,
that's why I've been intrigued if Roman wins again. I just want to see everyone's reaction to it.
So the last thing, kind of wrapping up day one, was obviously the Seth and Drew. We kind of knew what was going to happen in this match, but there was one point where you actually thought, oh my God, WWE are going to completely go off script here. Drew actually got a free count, but then Seth's foot was on the rope, so they had to say, oh yeah, it's not a free count. But obviously Seth retained, as we kind of thought was going to happen. It was an okay match. It wasn't anything amazing. It was just kind of, average. Because I think their big moment for day one was obviously The Rock coming back, and they didn't want to kind of outshadow that by this being like a 5-star match. Not that WWE ever have any 5-star matches, really. But my little digs there. I like to have a dig now and again. So yeah, I don't know if either of you had any further thoughts to add on day one, because that's kind of the end of my notes on day one.
Well, I just want to say, actually, Jinder, he done really well with what they give him. He really did. They give him a "I Hate America" gimmick in 2024. It's not easy to go out there and do that, especially when you got The Rock coming out.
Of Kurt Angle in 2006.
But yeah, I think he done brilliantly. I honestly do. I think.
And the rest.
What was that? Sorry.
I think you're right in that.
I think.
I think you're right in that. In the fact that. Oh, is there?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll try.
I think it might be on my end. Sorry.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right in that. I think it's probably on my end. My internet's been playing up the whole time. So I've had to really listen out to what you're both saying. So yeah, I do think you're right in terms of Jinder doing really well with what he was put out for, because obviously he knew it was going to be, he potentially knew that he was going to be booed, and obviously he knew that Rock was coming out, so he was kind of coming in at a disadvantage anyway, because anybody could have come out, and I don't think they'd have got a bigger cheer as what The Rock did. So moving on, and it was funny that Lee actually mentioned Grayson Waller, because as I mentioned earlier to both of you, they were meant to have an Ilya Dragunov title match at the end of New Year's Evil that they've been hyping up for weeks. But shortly into the episode, they said, "Oh yeah, by the way, Ilya Dragunov is not medically cleared to wrestle." So that kind of put the event. It made NXT look a bit silly, because you don't go for weeks promoting an event. Obviously, you don't know when injuries are going to come. I'm not saying that you do. But it looks a bit bad on their part that they spent weeks hyping up this match for it to not even be. So other than that, I've got a few notes. So both there was 2 women's matches that were both really, really good, to be fair. So NXT have got an extremely strong women's division. Probably you could take a few names out of the main roster of the women's division, and overall NXT have probably got a better one. They've got so many like women's wrestlers that are coming through. They're all amazing on the mic as well. So I know what will happen though. They'll then get ruined as they come up to the main roster, like always, like all these NXT stars do. It's probably only one that they haven't ruined. Finn Balor's still obviously going quite well. That's one they haven't ruined. Pete
You'd
Dunne,
hope that wouldn't happen though. With Triple
obviously
H
not
as
called
the
that
booker now.
anymore. Yeah, hopefully. I really hope so, because they become like cult stars in NXT, and then kind of everyone gets excited. They come up to the main roster, and then they just kind of ruin them and flatten them. Give them like a push for like a couple of months when they actually debut, and then they just kind of falter into the background. You probably have two expectations. You probably have Finn Balor, and you probably have Asuka, because obviously she's still up and around in that
Bianca
division.
Belair,
But that's
they
probably
did
the
well
only
with-
two.
well with her.
You look at the rest of them, and they've kind of oh yeah, so that's three. But then the rest of them have kind of faded into the background. JD McDonough would be absolutely nothing if it wasn't for the Judgment Day. I don't think I think he'd have probably been released if he hadn't been put in the Judgment Day.
Do you know what? He does look like a good worker, though. He
so-
does, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame, because all these people, like, because I watch NXT a lot, and I have done for many years. It's really sad, because they're so amazing in NXT when they're actually allowed to have a little bit of creative. They're allowed to kind of put a little bit of their own input into the matches. All the matches are so good. Like, NXT is actually really enjoyable from start to finish to watch as a product each week. And then you watch Raw and SmackDown, and apart from like this
good things about it.
day one. Yeah, NXT is great. It's actually not on. So they've lost the deal to have it on UK TV. So NXT was on BT Sports. Well, it was called BT Sports. It's now TNT Sports. With Raw and SmackDown, but it's actually gone exclusively onto the network, which is funny, because the network used to have it, but they used to be like 6 weeks behind. So in order to watch NXT that like the right week, you'd have to wait like 4 or 5 weeks before you could actually watch the weekly version of it, which is just ridiculous. But obviously they're going to get it now each week, which I hope will bring the viewers up, because it just is much better for me than the main product. Because the main product, obviously the pay-per-views are really good. Obviously they put loads of production into it, but actually the pay-per-views that NXT do are just incredible. Obviously they were the first people that did the War Games stipulation before WWE went, oh, this is going really well, let's nick it from them. So yeah, there was that. So I kind of digressed a little bit from where I was at. So the first match, Lyra Valkyrie retained against Blair Davenport. That was a really good match. And then the other one, the other match, I actually noted this down, because I think these are two female wrestlers that are going to have a massive 2024. Tiffany Stratton, if people don't know of her, she's kind of a really tall kind of of her. So she's really kind of a tall, kind of really good on the mic, lots of wrestling skills as well. And then she was facing someone called Fallon Henry, who's also the same in terms of really good on the mic and a really good like in-ring wrestler as well. So yeah, I think they're both going to have big 2024s. So I then made a note about the breakout tournament final, which was won by a guy called Obafemi. Not Obafemi, the player that used to play for Newcastle, but Obafemi, the wrestler.
So it's okay for you to bring up football then?
I knew that was coming.
I'm allowed on the host, you see.
Oh yeah.
I'm the host, you see. I'm allowed to do that. I make the rules here. I have got somewhere the picture of this guy. It's just here.
Look at that.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of this man. So yeah, so that's that. He won the breakout tournament final against Riley Osborne, who actually I've noted made a really good account for himself as well. Kind of a he was kind of a mix between a high flyer and someone that was really technically good. So I think he's got a big future ahead as well. I've got 2 more sets of notes. So Rich Holland had a really good segment where he was on the mic talking about his injuries that he's had. And it was really kind of good because he kind of stressed, I haven't brought my family, traveled them to the other side of the world, made them drop everything to come to nothing. Like, I'm going to push through all my injuries. Normally would go, oh yeah, wrestlers have said this hundreds of times before, but actually made it really believable, which is why I wanted to point it out. I didn't really know much about him before watching this promo, so I was really impressed with his mic work. So then the main event, because Ilya Dragunov wasn't cleared to wrestle, actually became a number 1 contenders match for the title. And that was with Grayson Waller and Trick. So this was obviously because Ilya not being able to be medically cleared. So Trick then beat Grayson Waller to become the number 1 contender. So yeah, in terms of it's in Australia, it's going to be the hometown boy. It wasn't his night at New Year's Evil. So that's where I come to kind of the end of my notes. There's just a picture of Eddie Kingston that I've just
Eddie Kingston
clicked on.
chilling.
Eddie Kingston will be the last thing that we say. Last picture that you'll see on screen that's not obviously us, because I accidentally clicked it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in terms of the roundup of everything. I'm also going to take that comment up because Lee's comment's been on there for absolutely ages. I didn't realize it was still there, actually, to be honest. So yeah, that was a good segment where Guna Gavrin will get some views, hopefully, because that was prolonged on the screen. So yeah, that's it for me, really. Posh, starting off with you, where can everyone find you and your explosive football X rants, I should say?
Yeah, well, you can follow me on X or Twitter, whatever you call it nowadays, at Posh Bertie, and my Instagram is at Bertie Wanless. I also run the Guna Gathering Instagram account, and I have made 1 video on my personal YouTube channel ranting about a certain team that I'm not allowed to mention.
I said you could only have there's strike 2. You could only promote 1 of your social medias. You weren't allowed 2. No, I'm joking. Kyle, where can? Well, no, actually, it's become a kind of ending segment where I ask you kind of what's coming up on the channel. I actually also have a little bit myself when you've kind of finished, but I know the Christian video has just gone up on the channel, hasn't it? And
yeah,
the one before that was the controversy, which you do need to go and see if you haven't already, because it's next level.
And I have got 1 more coming soon. It should be next week sometime. An RVD video. So any Rob Van Dam lovers out there, subscribe and you'll see an RVD video hopefully next week.
So
cheers, Lee. I appreciate you.
I would fully agree with that. Both saying they're both brilliant videos. I would fully agree. So there's 2 things that I wanted to add. I wanted to, first of all, say that I don't know how we've got to 500 so quickly. Obviously, it's all down to, well, it's not even down to these. I think it's down to the work that Carl's been putting in with the commentary type videos. This has just kind of been a extension to those videos, because that's where the 500 subscribers has come from, because Carl spent a lot of time putting those in. So I wanted to first of all say thanks to everyone for subscribing. I don't know quite how we've got to this stage so quickly, but obviously really pleased about that. As always, the Patreon link is, I'm going to make a banner so we can put it at the bottom. That's for the next one, but obviously it's on the YouTube channel. If you want to get involved in that, we've got lots of plans for that, but we're just waiting on building a solid base of people, and then we've got lots of plans going forward for that. So hopefully when that hits off, we've got a lot of things waiting. Also, we've got some exciting now.
Sorry, Sam, but the links are in the description for the Patreon, and there's also a membership, YouTube membership option now as well. So if you want to join the channel, feel free to do that. Support us. We'd really appreciate it. And we appreciate you for subscribing.
Funny you should say that, Lee. How's the Osprey video going? This is just like a running kind of joke as well at the same time. It's funny you bring that one up, to be fair. Yeah. I don't know how to put it to you all, but it's not got any further. So eventually, and actually, I'm going to say this. I'll keep it when we get some people on the Patreon / if we get any members, then I'll do it.
You got to keep your word.
Fair enough.
I'll keep my word. It's just obviously the audience has got to do their part too. So yeah, we've me and Carl have been talking today. I'm not going to go into any details. I'm going to leave it as like a massive surprise. But yeah, just know that we're working on things in the background and some big things are coming. So with that being said, if you want to follow me on any Instagram or X or whatever you call it, Sam Wilson AFC. My Twitter's slightly different with the one in the space of the eye. Posh is now going to say, well, you only allowed me one social media. So I'm going to beat you to it. Can I make the rules? So yeah, it's been good to chat to you both. Thank you, Posh, for coming on and giving up an hour and 13 minutes of your time.
Oh my God, it's been an hour.
And
bloody
yeah,
hell.
We will see you on the next one on here, of course, but obviously watch out for the channel for different videos. And like I say, once you come off this, go and watch the Christian video and then go back to the video before that and watch the controversy video as well.
Yeah, just watch them all.
So
Why
yeah,
not? Why not?
Other than that, we'll see you next time. Come on.
Hello? What's happened here then?
I have I've frozen, so I don't know if the viewers got to hear that. Can you confirm to me, Posh, as to whether that was heard on the video and whether it was just my internet?
We're still live, so
I know it's still live.
I didn't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm so confused right now. I think
okay.
I don't know what's going on, but it's like,
We'll
do you know on the news? It's like on the news when they have like that freezing
Right. Well,
moment, like that.
There you go.
that's good.
Lee's
Right. So we'll
Lee's
actually go
decent.
and end it now. We've had a couple of bloopers. Obviously, it's all in the world of YouTube. And yeah, see everyone soon.
I love this game.
And